Until 150 years ago, southeastern Nigeria was covered by thick rainforest, but the lush green land is fast becoming an arid badland that is unsuitable for cultivation and dangerous for human habitation. The culprit is a phenomenon called gully erosion, mainly a product of human activities such as deforestation, unsustainable farming practices, path and road construction, and poorly constructed drainage systems. Gully erosion takes place when wear and tear on the surface land causes rainwater to accumulate in one area, causing loss of vegetation cover, localized erosion, and the formation of gullies. The problem of soil erosion in Nigeria has been compared in its extent and seriousness to the problem of desert encroachment. Annual soil loss is estimated at 30 million tons, of which 50% occurs in the eastern states. It is important to note that there is a direct relationship between population density and soil erosion because of the need for living space and farmland, both of which are obtained through the clearing of forests. The soils under the tropical rainforest are of poor structure and have low fertility. Once the land has been cleared and farmed on for a year or two, fertility falls. The raindrop impact on soils as bare as these can easily destroy the structure, forming crust all over. Crusts reduce absorption of rainwater and they facilitate surface runoff, which removes topsoils as well as the nutrients and organic matter that are present in them. What is left behind is scarred, infertile land. Where runoff from areas of a few hectares concentrates, small streams are formed. These streams converge into larger ones, increasing their erosive power. The streams cut into the land at accelerating speed. If this process is not stopped, then gullies are formed. Erosion is further aggravated by fast runoff from houses, roads, and civil engineering works. Many gullies start to develop on weak points of engineering design, such as uncovered side slopes of roads or unprotected slopes downstream of culverts. While surface erosion lowers agricultural production by reducing soil fertility, gully erosion aggravates the problem by reducing the area of farmland and destroying roads, bridges, and structures. When computed by per capita or by land space, Oko community is easily the town that is most afflicted by the scourge of gully erosion in Anambra State and indeed the entire country. Oko perches on a relatively small piece of real estate which is steadily being nibbled away on multiple fronts with each passing rainy season. The sad aspect of this is that the bulk of storm water responsible for energizing the relentless expansion of the gullies which surround the Oko community from all sides originates from faraway places on higher elevations of the watershed.
Since this incident has happened, we are not ourselves again. So we are pleading for the government to come for our rescue. Please, we are begging government to come and help us. We are desolate. We are devastated. I lack words. I don't know what to say. Please, I'm begging government to come and help us. Let them come for our rescue. Let them come and help us.
Along this escarpment, there exists the most menacing erosion gullies in the country. The northern and western borders of Oko town are delimited by a huge gully network which extends to Nanka, Agulu, Agulu, and beyond. The renowned Federal Polytechnic Oko and Dr. Alex Ekweme's home are only a stone throw away from edge of this monstrous gully complex. Oko perches on a relatively small piece of real estate which is steadily being nibbled away on multiple fronts.
There's panic in my community because people are moving out. It has been threatening, and we have made representations at various quarters and various times on television, on newspaper, and other media cried out for help, that this was getting worse and worse. Nothing has been done until this catastrophic final blow, as it were, came and broke the gutter. That gutter was the shielding reinforcement that prevented it from rapidly going. And as I mentioned earlier, that gutter was part of the program of ecological management that was initiated and executed by the Shagari administration, in which, by happenstance, my brother, Dr. Alex Ekwulumiri, happened to be his vice president. And they had been concerned about the ecological problems of Nigeria, particularly in the Delta zone, where the oil devastation had made life intolerable for the people, and there was desertification up north, and there was the erosion in this area, and other ecological problems we had. So they took pains to map out a plan for checking these hazards, and that was when these gutters were built by a foreign country. I don't remember, a foreign company, I don't remember where, but all the way from Agulu, Nanka, down here and beyond. But plans have been made by that government administration to continue the work, to check it permanently. But unfortunately, the coup of 1983 stopped all this, and the military just destroyed the hopes of people, and nothing was done anymore. So that gutter had been sort of holding fort for us. But this last one, we do not know how or why. We think that perhaps the work being done on the other side might have which set up a reverberation. The vibration may have affected a sort of water that was already weak and tender, and it just collapsed, and that really caused the final blow.
Before, even last 2 years, we passed from here to Node before the thing come to be very, very severe, to be very, very much like this. So we have been trying to check the thing, but even no people around all the people who used to help us in checking it, don't died. Even the people at the side of the valley, they don't die. As myself alone and other of my brothers are trying to see if we can stop it, but we can't help it at all.
The indigents of Anambra need help, and they need it as soon as possible to save their state from total destruction. Villages are being washed away while lives are being lost. This is Nanka, the biggest erosion site in Nigeria. The only sign that humans have ever lived here are the remains of electricity poles. The fact is, less than 2 decades ago, there was a village here, but for now, it has become ancient history.
We used to come here, fetch water, and then local people come down and fetch water and go. But it started escalating until it reaches this point. When I was young, our parents used to tell us that this thing started a long time ago, in the 18 something, not even 1900. People have been coming from time to time, especially when it happened. Nanka Patriotic Union, the organ for the town now, have been inviting people. Even my nephew wrote to the president, Senate president, and they sent a reply that they were looking at something will be done, but also since then, nothing has been done. As I told you, the bigger one happened in 1980 something. I forgot the exact date, but it's 1980. I was in Abakaliki by then. It happened at that time. We thought the government would do something, and Buhari came. You know, he didn't say much. He just saw the thing, and then they went back. And since this thing happened again, last year, was it last year, I think? We were making all effort, trying to dig trenches, both sides, to control the flooding, because the major cause of it is flooding. You can see the road you pass through. Without the trenches we dig, the rain could have washed away all the road. You won't be able to come down here. You see?
If you look around, you see the thing has been happening gradually. We've been planting bamboo, and we've been sending our agitations to state government, even to federal government through World Bank and Public Complaint Commission. They've been here severally. They took pictures, took statistics, but we never saw them again. So that is why we've been working at our own level. So you see, some of the houses has gone down. Some people are still packing away from the disaster. We're working hard to see if we could attract the federal government or even the World Bank or any other body to help us. See, if you look around now, you see the gutter, major gutter that was built 32 years ago. It has cut it, and once it is cut, we are moving finally.
Landslides. There had been a checkered history of continued landslides, orchestrated behind or between the two communities of Nanka and Oko in Orumba North, causing a lot of havoc, threatening people. More than 15 houses have gone in. A lot more are threatened. More than 300 houses on the coast are threatened. The biggest of the casualty, or would-be casualty, would be the Federal Polytechnic, the only Federal Polytechnic in Anambra State, age-long polytechnic. And significant is the fact that this landslide is happening behind the house of the former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. If care is not taken, he will also be sacked from his homeland, where he had been existing for the past nearly 70 years or more. Women are threatened, children are wailing. Not only that their means of livelihood has been taken away by the landslide, but also their continued existence is no longer guaranteed. While Boko Haram is wreaking havoc within the upper part of Nigeria, there is Erosion Haram here in Anambra State. And it seems to me as if there is a state of war between Erosion and the people as to who owns the land. It appears to me that Erosion is winning the war. And my call is on government to come to the aid of the impoverished people of Nanka and Oko, who are now being dispossessed of their households, their means of livelihood. Our people, our society, Urumba communities are agrarian communities. Their farmland have been taken away. Even their houses have been taken away. They are at present helpless. There are refugees created as a result of the landslide. But at the present, there seems to be no strategic intervention. Even what is taking place behind me, by way of remediation, can't bring about any reclamation because the hole is much and the rate of decay is not yet determined. What I learned is that there was this was caused by vibration by one of the machines, and coupled with the fact that the rain had just started, and we are just about to enter the rainy season. This landslide occurred. What will happen in the next 2 or 3 months is inestimable loss that is going to take place if nothing happens. So my call, if you might ask me, is on the federal government to give environmental emergency status to Nanka and Oko communities. This this region war is more than 20, 30 years old, and nothing significant has happened. I would like the same way government is paying attention to the security situation in the country vis-a-vis Boko Haram, to give this Erosion Haram a very significant attention. Nothing short of emergency status will bring about reclamation or remediation. Nothing short of bringing a reputable contractor.
But Anambra is not the only state affected. Victims are scattered across the various states of the Federation, but the worst hits are in the southeast. The economic cost of gully erosion in southeastern Nigeria is devastating. Gully erosions lead to great losses of land every year. In addition, highways are ruined, leading to numerous vehicle accidents and deaths. Buildings have collapsed in several towns, and farmers in the area have seen their produce washed away during this year's rains. No fewer than 317 erosion sites has been identified in Enugu for urgent and sustainable intervention. In Imo, 460 erosion sites have been penciled, while lives have been lost in all local governments in Abia State on account of gully erosion menace there. About 2,050 active erosion sites have been identified across the state. Communities have been sacked and residents displaced in the past years, yet there is no respite in sight. The state government needs no less than 350 billion naira to effectively control the menace of erosion. Severe erosion over many years has cut off or destroyed hundreds of homes, businesses, farms and schools, prompting the governors of the region to call for a state of emergency. The government has done little to curb this menace, although some gullies are initiated by natural cracks in the earth. Most gully erosions across the country are unnatural and could have been averted. Most of the causes of erosions are traceable to bad management practices, such as roads without proper drainage or catchment pits, unguarded cultivations that cause flooding, as well as indiscriminate channeling of flood water. Many affected families have nowhere to go, so they simply neglect the danger signs and go about their daily chores. And they are waiting for the day the government will help save their lands.
I don't know exactly where to start, because beforehand, when I was a kid, I came up and saw this erosion. But the problem is that it continues developing more and more, as you can see with your eye. That's a house there. The people has evacuated. Now, the problem is that the flood that come all the way, even from Nokwa to a neighboring town, to Nkwalo, to another place, have been channeled towards this road, thinking that it would be, but it was left just like that. So the whole flood is floating here, and thereby, if it was down there, there's a place where Umur village entered and broke the erosion, the flood, so that it will be healing with science, and yet it has failed, and more than that. Now, beside these bamboos, this thing would have gone cleared everywhere.
As a matter of fact, you know, for some time now, we've not had a base map, or what you call a topographic map. You need this thing to design roads and other infrastructure, say drainages, in order to align them properly from the highest points, looking at the contour, to the lowest point. And in road construction, really, who is the major culprit? Because they do not design their roads along with the drainages, where sometimes they leave the drainages halfway, without leading the drainage to the stream, a nearby stream. They leave it halfway, so from there, gullying begins. That's another major cause, which we're out now to check.
Geographically, Auchi is a very important settlement in Edo State, as it is also the administrative headquarters of Esakon West local government area. It has an estimated population of 100,000. Its undulating landscape is deeply incised by runoff from upland to the stream valley, where erosion action of running water is less. By expert analysis, an estimated 565 square kilometers of land in Edo State is under gully erosion, while an estimated 2,000 square kilometers of its watershed is degraded. Another 1,435 square kilometers of the state's land is adjudged to be under sheet or other form of erosion. They explain that collectively, land degradation in Edo State is costing the state an estimated 2 trillion naira. Seeing the magnitude of what needs to be done, there has been a clarion call for a huge engineering project to curb the menace. The governments from erosion-prone states are appealing for federal funding. But help is on the way. The federal government, in conjunction with World Bank, has concluded plans to phase out gully erosion in the vulnerable states within 8 years through watershed management strategy. The World Bank, within the period, would provide over $500 million to finance the project in 5 southeastern states of Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo, alongside Kaduna, Kano, Sokoto, and Ogun states. When searching for a solution to a problem of this magnitude, it is natural to look at the experiences of countries which have had similar problems. Unfortunately, it is not easy to find an example of a large-scale reclamation and erosion control program which has been successfully completed. One reason is that rapid soil erosion of the type that causes the loss of about 10 million hectares of arable land every year is a new problem in the world today. The Senate on its part intends to investigate the perceived mismanagement of the ecological funds by the Ministry of Environment. The upper legislative chambers made this known during the second reading of a bill seeking an act to establish the Erosion Control and Prevention Commission and vest it with the responsibility for the prevention, control, management and redress of erosion for further related purposes. Deputy Senate President Ekwulumiri blames the state and units in charge of the fund for not making proper use of the funds they had received since 1999.
We'd love to hear from you. Do you have a comment or questions? Do send them to us by email on file@channelstv.com.